No one balds gracefully. Baldness is a microcosm of death. Your hairline is stripped away follicle by follicle, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Perhaps, if you're lucky, you can throw a little Rogaine on it and temporarily quell the beast of baldness, but eventually the sparse reality will catch up with you. You might be thinking, baldness is more commonly accepted these days. It ain't so bad. And you would be correct. However, do you know what's even more commonly accepted these days? Having hair. If you are a balding man, the number of people who will date you is immediately cut in half. With hair, you have a choice to go bald, and that choice is what makes all the difference in the world. This isn't to say that some men or women are unable to compensate or overcome their baldness. It's just an assertion that going bald has never enhanced an individual's attractiveness potential. While there might be people out there who find bald men or women attractive, this rarely, if ever, gives a balding person a sense of security or satisfaction. Most baldies are ashamed, afraid, or hateful of their baldness. To prove this, I will now discuss the various types of balding people, and through their baldness, extrapolate characteristics of their personalities. Generally speaking, there are two buckets that balding people fall into. One is where the baldy is aware and honest about their balding, and after a period of regret, takes the necessary steps toward accepting the change in their lives. The second group are people who try to cover up their baldness like a poorly planned murder. Since people who are more honest with their baldness are a little less abhorrent, let's address them first. The Statham. This particular type of baldness is employed by a more attractive section of the bald race. The object of this style is to keep the remaining hair tightly cropped to the skull in a neat and aerodynamic cut. It is usually used by men who would look like cancer patients if they shaved off their hair completely, and as such, must leave a little stubble to fill in the gaps, bumps, and lumps. The intention of this hairstyle is to say, sure, I'm bald, but my athletic physique, ability to kick ass and drive Audis, more than makes up for my lazy hair genes. Biker bald. Biker bald, also known as the Vincent Diesel, is a close cousin of the Statham. This style, however, is generally used by a girthier gentleman who doesn't care if it looks like a pack of hot dogs got glued to the back of his rolly bald head. This look says, yes, I had hair, but one day it gave me too much lip, so I murdered it. Often this bald style comes equipped with head tattoos of horns, wings, or various other gang insignia to help cover up all the negative space. Beard bald. Beard bald is a hilarious game that your genes play on you. Just as you begin to mature and grow facial hair, you begin to lose the hair on top of your head. But not to worry. You've got a great way to recreate your youth. Instead of being bald on the face and hairy on the top, now you're hair on the face and bald up top. This hairstyle says, if I walked on my hands, no one could tell the difference. The aristocrat, aka the mogul. This hairstyle is generally used by men of great stature or wealth. This over 40 hairstyle is tantamount to a soul patch. It's a little bit of hair that has grown simply to annoy others around you. This hairstyle says, if you say anything stupid about my hair, you'll never work in this town again. The skullet, aka the mad scientist. Popularized by homeless people and conspiracy theorists, the skullet is chiefly a product of neglect. More often than not, addiction, the voices, or a straitjacket get in between the skullet wearer and a pair of scissors. For added effect, the skullet is enhanced if the bearer has curly afro-like hair. This hairstyle says, I am in no way connected to reality. But enough about the self-aware. Let's move on to those who refuse to recognize the passing of their hair era. Question. Who was the first person to recognize that you're bald? Answer. Everyone else. The sad joke about going bald is that the 2 or 20 times that you look yourself in the mirror each day pales in comparison to the amount of times that people in public are going to see you from a myriad of unflattering angles. The more deceptive you try to be in an attempt to salvage your hair loss, the less trustworthy you appear as a person. The dead animal. The most common solution to eradicate baldness is to staple what looks like a dead squirrel to the top of your head. Whether it's an ill-fitting wig or the pelt of a recently deceased forest-dwelling mammal, this hairstyle is a refusal to be bald at any cost. Well, I suppose not any cost, because a more expensive hairpiece might appear a little more convincing. The attachment toward vanity and youth is so strong to the hairpiece wearer that they are content if only 1 out of every 100 people believe that it's real. This hairstyle says, I have a lot of secrets. The comb-over. The comb-over is the most conventionally lampooned hairstyle by comedy sketch writers. On the positive side, this hairstyle says that the bearer is willing to do whatever it takes to cover his bald head. The comb-over cannot stand the thought of his shiny chrome dome being exposed to the harsh light of day. He is content, however, with a few strands of unusually long hair being swept across the top of his forehead. The comb-over simply can't let go. As long as the premise of hair remains somewhere within the vicinity of his head, he'll grow it out and drag it across the valley. The comb-over should be involved in balancing the budget because he is willing to stretch anything to make it work. His hairstyle says, I'm skeezy. Guy who constantly wears sunglasses on the top of his head to disguise receding hairline. Self-explanatory. The Coliseum. The Coliseum is a perimeter of transparent thinning hair that surrounds the exterior of a bald person's head. It is often confused with the yarmulke, but the notable difference is the sheer size of the bald spot. Much like a Coliseum, the walls on the outside are tall and supportive, while the center is completely barren. The owner of the Coliseum hairstyle will never pick up change or low-value items that he drops on the ground. He will also generally avoid conversations with people taller than he is in an effort to avoid exposing his giant, centralized baldness. This hairstyle is often employed by sleazy salesmen, and it says, everything looks good at a quick glance if you can talk around the details. Finally, the never nude. The never nude is like Sasquatch. You cannot be sure of his existence. From sunup until sundown and everything in between, he's got his head covered with a hat, bandana, towel, or various other items to keep his baldness under wraps. In some regions, the never nude is known as the country singer. Never nudes generally grow out the remaining hair left on their head to create the illusion that underneath their 10-gallon hat rests a billowy mold of healthy hair. The only indication anyone might get that they are bald is when a strong wind blows and they put both hands on their head to hold their hat in place. No man who has a full head of hair is 2 hands worried about his hat blowing off and rolling 10 feet away. This hairstyle says, I can't afford a toupee. As you can see, there are many different personalities within the realm of baldness. If you can think of any more, simply post them in the comments below.